Well, good afternoon, and a very, very warm welcome to this afternoon's great conversation with great leaders. Today, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Olumide Ibidabo of FBN Insurance Brokers, where he is the MD and CEO. Thank you so much for joining me, Olumide.
Thank you very much. It's nice being here.
Oh, good. Well, thank you so much. And a big thank you to everybody who's chosen to join us in our conversation today. Over the next hour, we'll be talking about, as you know, work-life balance and the importance and impact on the individual and employee well-being, but also critically on organisational success. We're recording our session today for those who couldn't join us, and we'd invite those who kindly have joined, but if you have questions, please do post them in the chat, and we will pick up on them maybe in, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes or so when we have sort of a natural pause, and then again towards the end of the session. If there are any problems or burning technical issues in the session, please do just speak up as we go, but for other questions, we'll pick them up at a suitable pause. But just to say thank you so much once again to Olumide, and just I thought it would be lovely if we can to start by understanding a bit more about you and FBN Insurance Brokers, who are, as I'm sure very many of you will know, are a very high-performing organisation who are one of the very best organisations in Nigeria, as rated by Great Place to Work. So it's a privilege to have you here, and it'd be lovely to hear some really powerful insights, I'm sure. But before we get into the topic at hand, would you be kind enough to introduce yourself, Olumide?
Thank you, Petrina. I'm Olumide Ibidabo, MD, CEO, FBN Insurance Brokers. And it has been a long journey, career-wise, 3 decades plus. I guess I started early. And I started off in 1990 in the insurance world. And I've worked with 3 reputable organizations over this 34-year period. And it has been an interesting journey. It has been an interesting journey.
Oh. And what would you say really motivates you or gets you up in the morning?
I guess the starting point, the real motivating or drive is my family, to cater for the family. And then as a role model for my kids, I need to walk the talk.
Yes.
So that's part of the factors that motivate me to wake up in the morning and get started. Equally, as part of a winning team in the office and as being the captain of the team, I need to show that direction, that focus, and provide guidance. So those are the motivating factors of drivers.
Yeah, so it's guidance, it's motivation, and at the heart of it, it's the role model for the family, but perhaps also the work team. Thank you so much. And could you tell us, I suppose, the sort of from the inside at the very heart of it, tell us about FBN Insurance Brokers. What do you do?
Great.
What do you stand out in the market? Why?
Yeah, thanks, Petrina, for that question. FBN Insurance Brokers started operations in the year 2000. That makes us a 24-year-old entity. We are part of the FBN Holdings, which is one of the biggest financial institutions in Sub-Saharan Africa. And being part of that brand has actually given us the leverage to distinguish ourselves as insurance advisory entity. We are into the insurance advisory world, and our people, I would say our people are the key resource that has been able to differentiate us. We have crops of young professionals on ground. The ethics is one of the cornerstone, doing it right, doing our business right, and our core values that gives you that entrepreneurial element. You own the business, doing it professionally, being innovative, and putting the customer as the center of our operations are part of the success differentiating factors that I can mention on this call. And we are not only out there to make money, we want to be your partners for life to ensure that all your risk exposures are well taken care of. So those are the key differentiating factors that has made us to be part of the top ones in the Nigerian insurance market.
Thank you so much, Olumide. So it's then very much, you said it almost at the beginning of the answer, it's about your people and how they deliver on these things, the sort of long-term relationships with clients and the advisory piece around and the ethics, the professionalism, the innovation, and so on. And maybe you already answered this one, but I would wonder how you would describe your role in the organization.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I said I'm the captain of the team. Being the MD CEO puts a lot of responsibility on one's shoulder. And I see myself as providing guidance, having an helicopter view of the operations, monitoring all the deliverables, ensuring that all the set targets are being tracked and being delivered. And having a good, dedicated team on ground, willing to work together as a team, has made that task easy. I would say it has been an easy journey achieving those milestones. You know, people are key to us. These are the key success factor in the organization. For me, it's just providing guidance and leadership. You know, that's just it, so that we are focused and they believe in one's leadership and ready to go travel the journey with me. Yeah.
Well, yes, it's lovely to hear you say, as team captain. In a way, it's been easy. It's because of the people, and that your role is the guidance and support. And before we get into our topic of today, which is very much about people and the human side of business, what would you say, just to hear a little bit about you, what would you say is your proudest moment in your career so far? What really? Or maybe there's not just one, but I don't know.
Serious, but really, I will narrow down to our team achievement for the last financial year, 2023. The company posted a very sterling result. We achieved approximately 1 billion profit before tax, which makes us to become part of the billionaire club, billionaire company club, which is a milestone in the annals of the company, and is a team thing. It's not an individual thing, but it's just the team delivering on our targets and our deliverables. So that marks a very memorable moment in one's career. Being able to cross that 1 billion naira mark is an achievement that one is proud of.
Thank you so much. Yes, and certainly from our perspective, from what you very kindly share and engaging with us at Great Place to Work, we have the privilege of knowing that it's a very, very strong employee culture. And clearly, I know from 20 or so years that I've been in this game, probably more like 30, that actually there's a strong and consistent correlation between high business performance and strong and positive employee experience. And there are loads of statistics that we know, for example, that 92% of your people say that you encourage them to balance work and personal life, really, I suppose, demonstrating your commitment to individuals as people, and then those individuals then work and deliver on the business objectives. And I hope maybe that brings us on to today's topic of work-life balance. And I'm a passionate believer in it, but actually I'm just very interested in, why would you say it was important to talk about work-life balance today?
Good question. Work-life balance as a topic today is highly relevant. The society is filled up with so much expectations, pressure, stress, and if one doesn't have that template or guidance on ground, the impact, the negative impact of all these forces playing around us in our environment could lead to a situation whereby the negative impact on the organization and our personal lives will be negative. So it's ideal and nice to have this template on ground and start discussing this topic to ensure that, one, in our personal lives and in our professional lives, we find a balance so that we are fulfilled on both sides of the coin.
Thank you so much. So it's about that fulfillment as individuals in our lives and the decency piece, but also the organizational performance piece, which comes as a benefit. And I don't know, I suppose this might be quite hard to sum up, but what does work-life balance mean to you? What is a work-life balance?
To me, work-life balance, to me, in my own understanding, and I would say that it's just to find a balance, not allowing our work life to impact negatively on our personal, private life, and to find that we are productive on the office front, and equally finding time to do or attend to other personal items like hobbies, families, our well-being. So it's trying to find a balance and equilibrium whilst being productive at the office front, but whilst being relevant at the office front, you are equally finding fulfillment in your personal life, either as a family person or in your hobbies or personal pursuit, in addition to being productive at the office front. So it's like finding a balanced life pattern. That's not simply what it means to me.
Thank you so much. And in some sense, perhaps the sort of having a balance that you can thrive in your personal life, I imagine, then feeds into the success of the organization, because people come energized and ready to contribute and bringing the richness of their lives to the workplace. And what role would you say an organization has in helping an individual have work-life balance?
To me, an organization should be deliberate. The organization or the management should be deliberate in putting structures on ground that promotes work-life balance. You know, there are so many initiatives that one could there should be flexibility, workplace, open communication, at least getting to know what are the issues with people-related issues, respecting people's free time, you know. So the organization, I believe, and the management is the starting point in putting the structure on ground that facilitates achieving a balanced work-life portfolio or equilibrium. So the organization has a lot of role to play in putting a flexible structure on ground, opening lines of communication, at least addressing people-related issues, and then achieving a balance. It might entail some cost, but when you look at the return, the well-being of the staff, the productivity, overall enterprise performance, it will be a worthwhile venture but the organization is the starting point, putting such structure on ground to facilitate that.
Yes, so it really pays off on the bottom line.
Yes.
Interesting. And I'm very struck by your answer, felt to me to be very much led by human-driven initiatives and leadership initiatives, like do we have open communication? Do we know our people? How do we respect people's free time? Rather than, I'm sure not instead of, but it was interesting that you led on that rather than perhaps practical initiative, practical structures like, you know, flexible working, whatever it is. It sounded like it's really important to have that culture, and that each human interaction from leadership is about understanding people as individuals, which is interesting. And I know that as an organization, FBN Insurance Brokers does really prioritize work-life balance and performs very highly in that area. And one of the things that I think employees often think about when they're taking a job is, does an organization really take the topic I care about seriously or not? How would you say, I don't know, what hallmarks do you think there are of organizations that take work-life balance really seriously? How would a prospective employee know that these initiatives weren't just lip service?
Good question, interesting one. The prospective employee, we need to do a bit of background check on the organization that you want to be part of. I think having discussion with the current staff, current employees regarding issues of leave policy or holiday policy. Is there an hybrid work template on ground? And what's the general mood, or how conducive is the work environment? A potential employee or a prospective employee should be able to get background information regarding welfare scheme on ground and how flexible do they have their work templates set out. Equally, online check, we have entities that carries out a survey and issue report. Great Place to Work is a good example to be referred to. So a report of such an organization would be a good benchmark too, to be able to assess whether they are paying lip service to work-life balance or they're actually pursuing it. So I believe a prospective employee should be able to do a bit of background exercise to be able to have that comfort that this is the right place to be part of.
Yeah, so ask critical questions, find out from the people if you can, ask what the exact policies are. Yes, yeah, absolutely, and listen carefully to the answers. And yes. And it's interesting that we all spend so much of our well, not all of us, many of us spend an awful lot of our waking hours at work. And I've heard the debate said, listen, should we even be talking about work-life balance as if work and life are somehow separate? Is it not the case that, work is just part of life? I don't know. Yeah, so I was just interested in your thoughts on that sort of discussion that some people might say, well, listen, work is part of life and it's not a case of balancing work and life, it's a case of blending them. And I just wondered how you felt about that.
I think the two concepts they are not distinctive. They are not a division between work and life. I agree with the fact that we spend a greater number of our waking hours in the office, and but to say everything work and life, work is everything, I think it's not really. There are two components, but working together. That's my own take concerning that question. And rather than having a distinct separation between work and life, it's better to see them as being complementary.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is to ensure that one side of the coin does not rub negatively or impact negatively on the other side. So it's good to be productive. It's good to have a good work. And equally, it's good to maintain a quality life too. So rather than saying work life is all the same concept, I think they complement each other.
Yeah.
They're two-sided in our professional life and in our personal life. But the most important thing is to achieve a balance.
Yes.
A quality balance between the two concepts. But they complement each other, not distinct or a division between the two concepts. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'd like to take us now, if I may, from the sort of conceptual side. So we've been talking sort of overall about belief in work-life balance, and it sounds like we both very much do believe passionately in it. And I'd like us now, if we can, to think about some of the wonderful detail within FBN Insurance Brokers. And so, and just, I'm sure the audience will be very interested in sort of, what happens and how you drive such a strong culture of work-life balance. So, obvious first question then is, how do you drive work-life balance at FBN Insurance Brokers?
Yeah, at FBN Insurance Brokers, we are deliberate. We have that focus that this is a target that we want to achieve. And it's a continuum. We've started the journey. We always tweak it. We always fine-tune it and go on with our journey. But in FBN IB, we are deliberate about it and we work deliberately achieving that work-life balance equation. One, we have flexible resumption time. We have flexible resumption time.
Okay.
We have hybrid work process. Hybrid work process in the sense that you have 3 days on site, 2 days off site, remote working template. We ensure that all staff have their medical insurance scheme in place, and not only having it in place, we ensure that they go for their annual medical check. We have series of events like bonding, quarterly team bonding, offsite. People should relax and bond and banter with each other, And equally, we ensure that there is your vacation. You have to go on an annual basis, no matter how sensitive your job role is.
You must have to take your holiday.
You have to take your holiday, So we try as much as possible to make it very robust.
Yeah.
And why I said that is work in progress. By the time you exchange views with other organizations and entities, you find out that maybe we can tweak this and do it better. But for now, we're on the right course. And there are so many events, novelty march, having friendly football matches, staff exchange program with different organizations, just to promote a work-life balance so that people will not burn out. You won't exhaust yourself, and the stress of the work will not get to you. And we respect people's break time too. Yeah. Do that.
So meaning that you encourage people to make sure that they take regular breaks. And not just so even within the working day, so that they're fresh and can still perform. And you mentioned flexible working.
Yes.
Yeah. Could you tell me a little more about that?
Yes. What we do is not full flexible working template. What we do is flexible resumption time. Flexible. The normal resumption time is 8 in the morning. But what we do is that we know that there is situations whereby you might not be able to get into the office 8 o'clock in the morning sharp. You are given a grace of 30 minutes. So you are not stressed up. You know that you have a grace of 30 minutes to resume. That's flexible resumption time. But we have remote hybrid working template whereby our staff, based on the understanding with their team lead, we have 3 days in the office, physically present in the office, and then 2 days remote working. So that's the template that we are using on the hybrid work template. Yes.
Yes, and so this combined with the flexible resumption time sounds to me like it's quite a bit of it is about trust. I don't want to put words into your mouth, but trust that your people will do the right thing.
Great.
And therefore, good. Yeah. And so I suppose an interesting question is, how do you decide what the right work-life balance policies are for FBN insurance brokers? Whose views do you seek? How do you find out whether it's hitting the mark for your employees?
Engagement with the staff is key. We have our survey, internal customer survey, that throws up this type of questions. What do we need to improve upon? Equally, we do have our village meeting. We call it village meeting, like a town hall meeting whereby all staff, up country and headquarters are present. The up country are joined virtually, and people are free to estray or highlight their challenges, whether it's personal or official. We've cultivated that culture of openness. You are not going to be wanted. You are not going to be penalized for asking. And what I usually say is, ask crazy questions. Ask any question. There's no dumb question here. As long as it's going to add value to our system, people should feel free to talk. And we call it village meeting because it's informal. We relax as much as possible. So the issue of, it's my senior, I shouldn't talk to, we allow people to talk freely. We allow people to express their opinion. And then another thing that management does is that we ensure that all the issues identified are actually addressed in a timely manner.
Right.
So that trust index is maintained. If we are saying we are doing it, we need to do it at the right time. So, And it has promoted that level of confidence in management to say that we are free to talk, we are free to share our thoughts and our concerns, and we know that the management will take corrective actions as quickly as possible. Yeah.
So it's interesting. It feels to me almost back to the thing that struck me at the beginning of this, where you said you're very intentional about what you do.
Yes.
And so
yes,
you've described, and yeah, we always hear, what's measured gets done, and one needs to be intentionally focused. And it sounds like you absolutely are on this topic. And it's interesting that you've described lots of strong initiatives, like flexible restoration, hybrid work, and so on, quarterly team briefings, and the social side, and so on. But actually, it strikes me that a theme that's coming up is that you drive this culture from the top, from your leaders, in terms of encouraging a culture where people are open to and feel comfortable to suggest things, and then when they do, you listen to them and do something about it. So it's actually, it sounds like policy, but plus culture.
Definitely. Yes.
Interesting. And then my next question was going to be, how do you measure what you're doing in creating work-life balance? But you mentioned the survey.
Yeah.
And then you've mentioned the listening part of
the
Village.
survey is a good source of getting feedback and possible areas for improvement. We have our social engagement, whereby you tend to measure and see how people feel about certain policies, certain measures taken, and then look at areas for further improvement. Part of an instance, I give you an instance, the case is that the feedback said, our office is not looking so modern now. We need to touch it up, and we are working on it, even though the cost implication is huge, but since it's a desire of the team, of the staff, to have a more modern looking office, we need to do it, despite the cost implication. So feedback, either formal or informal feedback, questionnaires, during village meetings. And then when you look at our performance over the years, we realize the fact that the years that we've commenced with this, being conscious and being deliberate about achieving a work-life balance, it reflects in our performance. The enterprise overall performance has been positive, and the level of staff engagement has been so high. Then the retention, staff retention has been so fantastic. Average period of service is 8 years, average. So the attrition level had dropped. It's like less than 0.1%. So it's like staff are happy working within the organization. So it's showing. And those are measures that one could use to see the correlation between having a good work-life balance and productivity. Yes.
Yeah, so thank you. That was my next obvious question. How does it impact the bottom line? And so you would say it's clear. You've got greater retention, you've got greater performance.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Treat people right and drive the right culture, and you get the benefits. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you know, I think we should pause for breath and see if anybody's posed a question and would like to join in with our conversation. I don't know.
That'd be nice.
It'd be lovely. Feel free if anyone would like to. I can't see any questions at the moment. We've got plenty of things to talk about, but it's nice just to see. No, I can't see any questions. Am I right, George? No questions at this stage? George is kindly facilitating for us. No? Okay. Well, we'll carry on our conversation, but if anyone in the audience wants to pose a question, but Olumide, please absolutely do. But so what would you say then, sort of, to an MD who was skeptical about the value of driving work-life balance, who perhaps thought that this was sort of an altruistic goal that might have far-off benefits, if benefits at all? What would you say to him or her?
My advice will be to have a change of mind regarding that topic, that subject matter of work-life balance. It has been proven over the years that adopting that concept, being deliberate about it, and putting necessary measures in place will have a positive impact on the overall performance of the organization. Not only the organization, but the people will be more committed, more dedicated, and be able to go the extra mile in achieving set targets, because they have that belief that this is the right place to work. So for any leadership or any MD that is still skeptical about adopting or starting the journey of implementing work-life balance template within the organization, it's going to be a win-win at the end of the journey. It might not be reflective immediately. It takes a bit of time because it's people related. It takes time, but once you're able to achieve that template, you are cruising, and it's a long-term benefit for the organization. So it's a win-win. Your staff and people are relaxed, productive, both at the office front and back home in their personal life, and the overall organization will benefit. The bottom line will improve drastically, and then you have that peace of mind that you are adding value to people's life. So the earlier the better. Any leadership or management or MD should start having a positive thought around commencing that journey. I think it is highly desirable. It's highly desirable, and it's a win-win. Nobody's losing, everybody's winning. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so it's a win-win both in terms of individuals and decency, but also in terms of productivity and profitability. But it's not a quick win necessarily, you're saying, because we're people.
Yeah.
It takes time to
it takes time, yes.
To do and see and believe and so on. And yeah, so where do they start on that journey? What's the, I suppose I'm kind of interested in, and maybe hard to be generic, but what do you think are the most important things that help to enable work-life balance in every organization?
I think the starting point is being flexible, having that flexibility in our mindset, in our thought process, and then communication line is vital. Communication line is vital, and there should be a feedback loop. We should be able to say, okay, we have put these processes and measures in place. Do we need to tweak it? Do we need, what else do we need to do to fine-tune the process? So number one, having the mindset of being flexible, allowing people to express themselves, and then having an open communication line that improves the feedback loop. We improve our template, the work-life template that we have put in place. So it's a continuum. We are always trying to tweak and improve upon the template. Yes.
So so you're never at the destination. It's always evolving according to what people need now.
Yeah.
And when you were saying as a sort of powerful point, one, be flexible in terms of your mindset. Could you tell me a bit more about that, about what you sort of had in mind?
Yeah. To me, as a management or as a person, we must have an open mindset and not having a closed mindset, and being willing to explore, different ideas will come. How can we make the work environment more conducive, more friendly? What do we need to do? So as a leader or as a management, we don't need to say, no, this won't work, or no, drop that.
Okay.
No. Explore all options.
Be
flexible. Yeah. Having an open mindset regarding this subject matter, willing to learn and take up new things, and then being able to go out of the box or dump the traditional way of the work life that we are used to, being flexible about new ideas, taking up new ideas. Yeah.
And how would you say you drive this culture of openness in your leaders? Because life's so busy, isn't it? We've got so many, often so many immediate targets and objectives to achieve that it may be, I can imagine it may be quite challenging to be open to requests and be listening. How do you encourage your leaders to do this?
Walk the talk. I think leadership by example is key. Once there's buy-in from the top, I think the drive or the commitment to have a buy-in from the other team members is almost 80% done. So my own phrase or catchphrase is walk the talk, provide the leadership. If you want to have a work balance, life balance equation, provide the tools. As a leader, you don't say how much it will cost us so much to acquire laptops for all our core staff because they need to work remotely. So you need to provide the tools. So rather than saying, okay, we want to work and we want to have a good work-life balance, but we are not willing to incur the cost.
Yeah.
It won't work. So it's better to have that buy-in from the management, from the leadership, and then all others will be cruising. We have a buy-in, we have a complete buy-in from the team members. So I think leadership involvement and commitment to drive the work-life balance template is key to ensure that we have almost 100% success rate in the adoption of that template in our system.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's driving it from the top, it's leadership involvement and commitment, it's walking the talk. It's back to the kind of question earlier about lip service. It's not lip service. It's if you say you're going to do work-life balance, do it and put your money where your mouth is in a very direct phrase about it.
Yeah, correct.
Very good. And you also talked, when I was saying, what are the key things that you would say, key pieces of advice for an organization in enabling work-life balance, you mentioned the feedback loop being important. And we've talked about the power of listening a few times, I think, in our conversation today. I don't know whether there's anything else you'd like to add about getting employee input into this, or whether just to say
Yes, I think other key factors we need to, or culture that drives it, I think effective time management, that's another key factor, and you need to be able to prioritize. And sometimes training is part of the aid or positive drivers that aid a good work-life balance. Training, people should get to know better about this concept of time management. How do I prioritize? What is urgent? What is not so urgent? What is important? What do I need to do now? Having a good understanding of that is key, apart from the feedback. The essence of feedback is to be able to tweak and look at your existing structure. What do we need to improve? What do we need to tweak to achieve a better platform? So to me, it's a work in progress. It's a continuum.
Yes.
Until when we're able to say, okay, we are cruising. But new development will always happen. New things will always happen in the environment, in our society, that will make us to look back and say, are we actually optimizing our work-life balance template? So it's a continuum. It's a journey.
Yeah. So it's always a work in progress. But interesting, it sounds like, so in terms of the key factors that I've heard in terms of driving work-life balance, it certainly comes across to me that you say it's intentional, it's driven by leaders. It sounds like for you as an organization, your organization is backed up by decent practices, so be it flexible working or flexible start times or whatever it is, but it's how they're applied that matters. It sounds like that you walk the talk on them. You don't just have a policy, it's walk the talk. Yeah. And interesting, you've also referred to, I suppose, supporting everyone, I'm assuming, as an individual with things like time management. So helping that individual as well reflect on and plan their time. And how can individuals themselves know they have their work-life balance right?
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think individual needs, aspirations, and the environment that they find themselves will be major factors to determine for an individual whether they have an equilibrium within work life. What are your aspirations? What are your career plans? What are your family plans? You know, it differs from one individual to the other. What do I want to become in life? We determine the type of format of work-life balance that I need to put in place. So I think it starts from appraising yourself as a person, knowing where you want to be and how do you want to get there. You know, that will form the basis of now how you draw up your equilibrium between your work-life equation. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So know yourself and then sort of work
Yeah.
out from there to think about what's right for you. And how can organizations know if they're getting it right? And by it, I mean the support they're giving for work-life balance.
Yes. I think with time and if well measured, you start seeing in terms of staff retention, your attrition rate, the survey feedback from independent organization that carries out a survey, staff employees, responses will show that they are happy working within that organization. And it's not only monetary reward, it goes beyond monetary reward. Going to an office in a happy mood, having that motivation, that waking up in the morning to say, I'm going to the office and you are happy, it goes beyond monetary reward. And is the culture, the people, how conducive, do you have the necessary tools? So measurement, one, I believe feedback from independent survey, we give an indication. And for ABN insurance brokers, it has been on the upward trajectory over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, and it gives one joy to see that this venture that we have gone into, this journey that we have started is actually progressing and adding value to the people. So retention rate, many staff are willing to stay and work for long with the company. Yeah. Despite the syndrome of Japa syndrome, people traveling abroad, we experience it few, but the percentage compared to other peers in the industry is minimal. It's minimal. And then overall enterprise performance. We are making 3 times what we used to do before, which is a plus. And it's the people driving that result. What is the secret? I think having a balance, the right equation of your work life is key in achieving this. People are happy working, they are happy at their personal life front, and everything is cruising. I will use that phrase. We are cruising now. Yes. Yes. It can only get better.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I hope you remind us a slightly more sort of personal question from your perspective. Yeah. What do you do to get work-life balance right in your life?
In my life, it took some time for one to have that balance, and it's still work in progress.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that one has served for more than 30 years in the industry, it's still work in progress. And you find out that I think at different stages of one's life, it modifies it, it moderates it. When one is single, young, agile, you know, you want to achieve so many things. I want to get my certification. You want to get promoted. You want to work extra hours in the office. Those are the early stages. Yeah. The time that you become a middle manager, you now need to delegate some. You are now starting your family. So the equation changes again. Now you have a family, you have a kid and wife to look after and to spend some quality time with them. Now one is tending towards retirement age, and now you are the chief executive officer. You now have an overview of the enterprise, and you are responsible for delivering the figures, and at the same time, having personal issues or life to attend to too. So I think it's at different stages of one's life and career growth that determines how you modify your life, work-life equation.
Yeah. So it's different at every stage and for every individual. And yes.
But it's nice to be conscious. It's nice to be conscious of it to ensure that at any particular point in time, you are trying to achieve that balance as much as possible.
Yes.
One should not lose sight of it. So it should be on your mind that, oh, I'm pushing myself too much. Let me relax. I'm not spending so much time with my family. Let's create a weekend to have a family trip. You need to be conscious of it. And it's nice that we're having this type of discussion to awaken our consciousness regarding this sensitive subject matter.
It really is. Thank you so much. Yeah, so it's sort of own it and be conscious and mindful.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, having said that, this is, clearly different for each person at each stage of their life. Is there any particular advice you'd share for people looking to move up the career ladder but balance their career life? So, for example, do you have to sacrifice life to rise to the top?
It's good to have that aspiration to get to the top of one's career. Everybody has that dream, that aspiration is good. And that motivates one to be productive too.
Yeah.
But it should not be at the detriment of one's well-being or one's personal life. You have your life to live. The work is good. It's good to work, but there's need to balance it. You don't need to burn yourself out or go to the extreme because you want to get to the top. It's a gradual process. It's a journey, you know. Being conscious of the fact that you need to balance your work and your life template will even be a plus, a positive to ensure that you get to that top of your career path in good frame of mind and more productive. You might achieve success overnight and then you are burnt out and it's short-lived. It's not good. You have achieved your goal, but it's short-lived. You are not useful to the organization. You are not useful to yourself. Your health is failing. So it's not worth it. It's good to aspire, but have at the back of your mind, need to balance the equation always. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So actually, you might argue then that my question was a false one, because in order to rise to the top and stay there, you do need to prioritize work and life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you. Now, I see we've got a few questions emerging in the Q&A. So if I may, I'll just, before I invite you, lovely other people to invite your questions, I've just got a couple more to ask before we open up to everybody else. And I would just love to know, stepping back, Olumide, what would you say you're most proud of about FBN Insurance Brokers that helps make it a great place to work?
Wow.
A big one.
Interesting question.
I know. Is there anything? Yeah.
It has been an interesting journey working for the organization and the people. I would say I'm proud of the team that we have been able to put together. The level of commitment and dedication is enormous. And looking at our performance over the past 3 years, it has been tremendous. And it's the people. So is our resource, the people resource, that is a particular item that I'm happy about and I'm proud of. Apart from belonging to a brand that is well known, and then apart from being part of an organization that belongs to the biggest financial institution, but the people are the real drivers of our performance. And it's because we're able to put in place a conducive work environment that supports their dream too. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win, and I'm proud of our team, the people. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. And absolutely, from our perspective, we can actually see the real power and passion of the positivity of employees in working with you, and how powerfully the employees believe in that and reciprocate that care. Thank you. Before we ask anybody else for their questions, is there anything else you'd like to share, Olumide?
Well, from me, I would say that this subject is an interesting one and should be a continuous discussion in our both corporate and personal life. It's very important to ensure that we're able to achieve our result in good frame of mind. We are not losing or sacrificing our personal family life and our hobbies for office or official assignment or work. And we are equally being productive. We are not losing sight of the fact that we need to work to achieve certain things of life. So there's need to continuously echo this topic on a regular basis so that people will get to know more about it and cultivate that habit too. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So again, being mindful. Thank you. Now I see that we have 4 questions in the Q&A. George, are you able to kindly share the questions with us?
So I didn't get that.
Thank you, George. We can't see the questions. I can see we have 4 questions. Are you kindly able to share them with us? Hi, George. Here. Thank you so much. So our first question is, what role does leadership play in fostering a culture of work-life balance and well-being within an organisation? If you wouldn't mind, Olumide.
Leadership is everything. Once there's buy-in of the leadership or the management of an organization into this concept of work-life balance and ready to put resources, spend resources, because you need to spend money to achieve some of these items required to achieve this work-life balance. Buy-in of the top management is key in ensuring that the pursuit is a successful one, the journey, because starting a journey is not really the key thing. Having a policy or measures to achieve work-life balance could be a lip service.
Yeah.
How committed is the management and the leadership of that organization is key to see that you're able to move from one point to the other in that journey of achieving a work-life balance within an organization. So leadership buy-in is very key, and having the resources available to deploy in achieving that goal too.
Thank you so much. So it's back to walk the talk, own it and act on it. Thank you. And for a second question, we have, what can be done by organizations on the mental aspect of work-life balance?
Mental well-being. It starts from being conscious, the consciousness, of what can we do for our people? What program, what schemes, what welfare scheme can we put in place to ensure that our people feel good? One, mental wellness, we have presentations, consultant coming over to talk about work-life balance, how to maintain your good health, stress management, time management. All these are bucket of measures that add up to promoting a balanced work-life equilibrium. So mental wellness or well-being is key, and is a continuum. It's not something that you do one-off and forget about it. On a regular basis, either half yearly, you need to have such program in place that will create that awareness amongst your team members. And you need to have that resources deployed for such eventual. So mental well-being is key, apart from our physical well-being. Mental, because the stress around us, the expectation, the target to deliver could drive one to the extreme. But once you have that balance, mental well-being and balance, you'll be able to cope, and you'll be able to deliver, and you won't burn out, So that's the way I want to see it, yes.
Thank you so much. Lovely. Well, we have a couple more, if we may. And our next one's a lovely practical one as well. And it's, as a small organisation of less than 15 employees, how can we effectively promote work-life balance while maintaining productivity and achieving objectives? So how can we do it with 15 of us?
Yeah, for a small size entity, I would say that it makes things easier because it's a small size organization. You can have a one-on-one interaction with your team members. The resources might not be the resources to be deployed might not be so much, but let there be that consciousness.
Yeah.
Let the people know that you as a management or as the leadership are willing to support the staff, both at the office front and their personal life. You know, it shouldn't be seen as one-sided. The workers should just come and produce. So whether the way they are commuting to the to office, or whether their well-being, just the owner of the business is just to see them producing, or for the organization, what is in need for them to. So once that consciousness is there, whether it's a big size organization or small size organization, that consciousness is the starting point. And for a small size organization, it's easier because you have one-on-one interaction with your team members. And once they see that culture is there, is being promoted, I think the buy-in will be easier to adopt within that organization. Yes. We start small. It's better to start small and then you grow it. Yeah.
Yeah. So drive the culture right from that size. Yeah. Thank you. And our next person asks about your analogy of there being two sides of the coin. And they say, I'd like to ask, what are some practical strategies to set boundaries between the two sides of the coin?
Setting boundaries is key, you know, knowing when to stop and knowing. I think saying that it's two sides of the coin is an analogy, like you rightly pointed out. But if I want to use a real life scenario, just a scenario, working remotely, sometimes you find out that working remotely, you tend to work beyond your normal working hours whilst you're in the office. And this is a tendency that is being experienced by virtually everyone working remotely. You don't have that break time, you don't have closing time, you are just working continuously. And it's better to set a boundary. And that's why setting boundary comes in, to say, anytime after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock at most, I'm not going to attend to any other meals again. Yeah. You know, so that you don't burn yourself out. And sometimes the urgency or there's every tendency that every mail that comes in now with our handheld, you want to reply immediately. It's like we need to start applying the brakes to say, look, let me take my time. I don't need to reply all the mails immediately they drop in my box. So I think those are where the areas of set boundaries we're coming. And I think the person that asked that question, setting boundaries, even though we said two sides of the same coin, but we should be able to know when to draw the line. If my personal life is going to impact negatively on my productivity, I should be able to know when to draw the line, you know. Yeah. But to me, they complement each other. They complement each other. It's not a division. You cannot really separate work and life, but as human, we need to be able to start drawing the line to say, I'm tired. I won't attend to any official meals again until tomorrow morning. You know, if we can cultivate that discipline or habit, it will be nice, but it's sometimes very tough. The tendency is that you want to go and treat your meals. That's what I've observed over the years. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much. We're running towards the end of our time. I might just quickly, if it's okay, just try and squeeze in one more or two, very, very quick. If we could just give a very quick response on questions, and then I'll hand to our Great Place to Work country leader, Otumeri, to sum up for us. But just to try and honour all our questions, our next question is, what is FBN Insurance Brokers' position regarding career growth and succession planning?
Good question.
I don't know, a big question, I imagine, but I don't know what the headline is. Yeah.
The succession planning we have in place, and for every key role, we are mindful of the key man risk. There's a succession planning policy in place. For every key role, there's always that succession planning, and it's being implemented. You know, necessary leadership training program and things like that, that we ensure that there's seamless transition from one and to the other. So we are conscious of that, and we know it's a growing entity. So we need to have those policies in place. So it's intact, and we are mindful of following all the policies and measures to ensure that there is no gap and there is no vacuum in our processes and operations. Yeah.
Thank you. And for our final question, our colleague has said, what are the indications that make an employee know that he is adding value to himself in a workplace? Gosh, interesting question.
Tricky one.
Yeah, to end a tricky one. Yeah.
To me, it might be latent. You might not be able to put your hand on it in the short term, but it shows in their productivity. It shows in their level of absenteeism. It shows in the level of commitment in delivering assigned tasks. And even in their home front, they're happy. You know, once you are happy at the home front, the tendency, having a conducive work environment, you'll be productive. So I think is a plus, a win-win. Once you are happy in the home front or your personal life, and you have a very conducive work environment, the tendency is that you'll be productive all around. So I think it's the level of productivity of each staff that we can measure. You have their KPIs, key performance indicators, appraisal system is there. You'll be able to measure that truly. And there are questions to say, do you have any challenges? You know, during our village meeting, town hall meeting, people are free to talk about all subject matter. So I think level of staff productivity and their happiness in their personal life and fulfillment in their personal life will be some key indicators that we can use to measure that our work-life template is actually working. Yes.
Thank you so much for sort of beautifully bringing us back to a conclusion on that question about the sort of win-win nature of focusing on work-life balance. And I just want to say, from my perspective, thank you so much. It's been a real privilege talking with you today, Olumide, and thank you to everyone listening. But most importantly, just thank you, and to hand over now to our Great Place to Work Nigeria country leader, Otumere, to sum up for us.
Thank you, Petrina.
Session. I think it's is why you had the opportunity of visiting a number of great workplaces. Our clients who were certified as great workplaces in Q1 this year. And one of the things we heard them say was that a lot of people have been asking questions around, are you a great place to work? A very well-renowned brand told us that since they've been certified last year, they've had an increase who are saying that would work. And so critically, being a good place to work is one of those measures that you can use to see if you are sure that you would have a great experience working in your organization. And like Olumide also mentioned, when you take care of your employees, one of the ways you can take care of your employees is with regards to ensured they have a work-life balance, which is well drawn out for them. And like they say, if you take care of your employees, they will take care of your business. And so it's not a surprise when we see those high scores that FBN insurance brokers have achieved over this period. Let me draw attention to some additional scores, some very high scores from FBN Insurance. They have a score. There's a statement we asked, I want to work here for a long time. At FBN Insurance, there's a score of 92% of employees saying that they want to work here for a long time. People care about each other here. A score of about 90% of employees say that people care about each other working at FBN Insurance. Also, this is a fun place to be. 95% of employees at FBN Insurance indicated that it's a fun place to be. And so therefore, it's not without doubt why the work-life balance is well exalted within this organization. When we reached out to Olumide and he gave us, he wanted to talk about work-life balance, we knew that this was going to be a very, very a topic that cannot be handled within 1 hour. And that's why at Great Place to Work, we have agreed, we are working on having a well-being conference slated to hold in August this year. Well-being conference will help us for a number of reasons to become advocates. We believe as a company, we are in the right position to be able to channel employee wellness. And so we're going to have this conference where we can advocate for change, across Nigeria. We're going to have this conference where we can share insights around work-life balance and best practices. We're also able to have this conference where we're able to share the benefits of a holistic wellness program or platform for employees in the workplace. And like Olumide had mentioned, invariably return on investments, where your work-life balance for employees is well-defined and deliberate, like he mentioned, is most likely to have a positive impact on your return on investments. So in the coming months, you would get more information about this conference. Hopefully, when we come around to reach out to your teams, you are able to be part of this very, very groundbreaking event happening in a few months from now. Thank you once again for being part of this great conversation session. Next month is another time where we're going to have another senior leader to provide insights around what makes the company a great place to work. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.